The Houston Texans are looking to get to 5-5 on the season. The AFC South foe and bottom-dwelling Tennessee Titans stand in their way in their quest to get to 500. The Texans have had this opportunity a handful of times before. Can they get it done? What's the only way they can't get it done? You got to talk about the elephant in the room, okay? We'll talk about that. We'll do the checkmark game, go through these matchups and find out which players are standing out on a hot streak, maybe getting a checkmark in this matchup. We'll talk about so much more throughout this. Welcome to the channel. I'm Cody Stoots. Let's talk some Texans. Caffeine with Cody this morning. Oh, this one got everywhere. Goodness gracious. Who knew that the Welch's Grape Ghost was going to have so much excitement to it? It's excited for Caffeine with Cody. I am too. Boy, goodness, that tastes just like some Welch's grape juice. That was a recommendation from someone in the chat. I forget who recommended that to me, but thank you. That is delicious. That's my caffeine this morning. Hope you're having plenty. Let's talk about this matchup here with the Houston Texans. This 5-5 quest that the Texans have been on, the chance to go to 500 once again for the Houston Texans. They were so close after back-to-back wins, and then they had a bye week, went to Seattle, and they did not get to 500. It's a very disappointing performance by the Houston Texans. Then they beat the San Francisco 49ers. They had a chance to get back to 500, and then it was a very disappointing performance by the Houston Texans against the Denver Broncos. They didn't even score a touchdown in that game. They lost their starting quarterback in that game. And then they went out there last week with a backup quarterback, and Davis Mills and the defense engineered one of the biggest comebacks in the history of the Houston Texans. And now they go on the road and have a spot where, if you're looking too far ahead, if you don't take them seriously, the Tennessee Titans will keep you from getting to 500 yet again. And everything we said last week, everything that you thought and I said and we talked about here on the channel about a loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, it applies to the Tennessee Titans. It applies to going to Nashville and losing to the Titans. It would be a disaster for your team. It would put you in an untenable spot in your opportunity to get back into the AFC South race and certainly stick around in the playoff race. And it would perhaps thrust the entire outlook of the season from hopeful to assessment of the future mode for the Houston Texans. So you've got to go into Nashville. You've got to beat one of the worst teams in the National Football League, and you've got to get to 5-5. And then you've got to quickly get rid of that thought and get ready for the Buffalo Bills coming to town, one of the teams that has been one of the best teams in the AFC for the past few seasons, one of the teams that you're hoping to get into the echelon of them in the AFC pecking order. And though they are not by any means the same level of Buffalo Bills as the previous couple seasons, still a dangerous foe, a dangerous opponent. But how could it happen? How could you even fathom losing to the Tennessee Titans? How could you even see that happening? Well, the Titans probably wouldn't beat the Houston Texans without a little bit of help from the Houston Texans. This is still a football team, even though they are on the precipice of 5-5, getting to 500 and coming off one of the best fourth quarters in the history of the franchise. This is still a football team that is inconsistent at its heart. This is still a football team that has trouble carrying over success on offense in a week-to-week manner. They have previously gone back to things that didn't work on offense, things that you saw work one week, players were then on the bench the next week. Players were not utilized the following week. Schemes, elements, plays that worked against one team aren't run against another team. That's still one of the hallmarks of this team until they prove otherwise, until they show the ability to carry things over to a large degree. Then you don't have any belief that they're going to be consistent. They've been consistent for 5 quarters in a stretch this season, into the Tennessee game and in 4 quarters against the Baltimore Ravens. Those were both bad football teams that they were consistent against. And even that Tennessee Titans game, they spent 3 quarters in their own way. That's what this team has done on offense. They've gotten into their own way time and time again. And it doesn't matter if it's C.J. Stroud or the little experience we've had with Davis Mills. Look, Mills didn't look good against Denver, but the offensive coordinator and the offensive line didn't help him out. Davis Mills looked a little bit better against Jacksonville, looked a lot better, played one of the best games we've seen from a Texans quarterback in the past couple of seasons. And it still was marred by some of the issues early on. Threw an interception on the opening drive, really bad interception, by the way, to a backup nickel cornerback playing for a very okay at best Tennessee or Jacksonville Jaguars defense. So you can get in your own way and help the Tennessee Titans. It's still a team going on the road with a backup quarterback, an unsettled running back situation, another change coming more than likely on a underperforming and untalented offensive line. And over on defense, you've started to see little itty bitty pieces where maybe a team can kind of just needle away at little hints of this armor, just pick away at it, just attacking the linebackers, going out and getting them in coverage and trying to make that a tough situation for them. Maybe some outside runs would give an opposing team an opportunity to move the football a little bit on the Texans. This is a team that's unsettled in their secondary. Their safeties have not played very well. So when you look at this matchup, yes, the Tennessee Titans are a bad football team. And more than likely, the Texans are going to win this football game. But a lot of the hallmarks of this Texans season are still present. 3 touchdowns and a comeback against Jacksonville doesn't wipe a lot of that away. So who do you turn to? Where do you look to kind of steady that? Make sure the Texans aren't beating themselves. Make sure that they're not going out there underestimating an opponent that is, well, not an opponent that should be estimated very highly. You look to 2 places. I think number one, you look to the head coach, obviously. DeMeco Ryans has to have this team focused, dialed in. He has to remind them, and I know this isn't an easy spot for head coaches. You just came off a really emotional victory. You're going against one of the worst teams in football, and you've got a huge home matchup in just a few days after this game. It could be very easy if you are a head coach to let your team get unfocused in this matchup, to let your team have a situation where they're not taking their opponent as seriously. They're not as dialed in. They're not doing what they typically do, or worse, they're doing less than what they typically do because they got to get ready for Buffalo. You got to get ready for that home game, Thursday Night Football, coming up right after Sunday against the Titans. And we've all been there in our personal lives and our non-football player lives. Oh, man, got this big thing coming up. I think about that big thing. And next thing you know, the first big thing doesn't get enough attention, doesn't get as much attention because you're worried about the next big thing. DeMeco Ryans, just like last week, was a big test for him. This is a big test for him. And look, I think the tests eventually go away. It's not a test, and that's just who the Texans are, and that's just who DeMeco Ryans has them as this season. But you still have an opportunity to continue to add to the evidence that you're the right guy. You can get all these guys dialed in and focused, and you can have this team at least set up to have the helmets go out there and take care of their business. DeMeco Ryans can't go make a tackle. DeMeco Ryans can't throw the football. But it didn't look like the helmets were ready to start last week's game. Before you looked up, it was 17-0. There was still 3/4 of the game left to play. It was 17-0. Now they had to get focused, locked in, and they clawed and scratched and got their way back into that game and found a way to win that football game and save their season from going off the rails. It's a good job. You don't want to be in that spot. You can't access that power, that ability too many times as a football team. So go out there, make the Tennessee Titans, who are incapable of playing catch-up football, make them play catch-up football. Go out there, score early, score often, just like you did against the Baltimore Ravens. I would love to see the Houston Texans go out there, dominate a defensive drive to start the game, get the football, march down the field, put 7 points on the board. That would go a long way into understanding and setting out a Sunday where you're not worried about, oh, God, is it going to be 3/4 of just, ugh, and then they're going to be able to get it done? That's what they did against the Tennessee Titans at home with C.J. Stroud. So why couldn't it be 3/4 of, and then they finally get it going and just escape Nashville? I mean, it could be. So you look to the head coach. You got to have him ready. Got to have those guys good to go. And to me, with the offense struggling, with the issues that they've had, I looked to another guy. I looked to the quarterback this week. We heard all week about how Davis Mills is just kind of cool. Nothing rattles Davis Mills. He was joking about it at the podium yesterday. Like, hey, yeah, my wife's wondering like why I don't get, annoyed. Hey, it is what it is. All right. Joe Cool. Have this team dialed in. Have this team locked in. It's your squad this week. And you've known it's going to be your team. It's not like there's some will they, won't they with C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's out. And they've probably known he's been out all week. It's your team, Davis Mills. Have them ready. Have that offense ready. Make up for that slow start by you with the interception to start the game and a very bad play against a very bad defense and a backup defensive back. You have the team ready to go. I kind of like the way Davis Mills talked about Tennessee. It was a little coach speaky, but don't underestimate the Tennessee Titans.
I mean, we talked about in the team meeting today and watching film, like these guys play hard. The record is what it is. But, I mean, they're coming out. There's NFL players on that team as well. They're paid to do the job, and just like we are. So we know they're talented and have the capability of winning the game. But we got to go out and execute and play at a really high level and kind of take things in our own hands to go out there and to try to win this game. We can't sit back and start off slow and try to fall into something. We got to be the aggressors and go out there and execute.
I don't necessarily think about aggression when I think of Davis Mills, certainly not with the way that he talks, but aggressive football play, certainly. I mean, look, it's the National Football League. Davis Mills said it. They get paid too. They're professionals too. I was walking out of the Titans game when the Texans had beat the Tennessee Titans. And I was walking out of that game earlier this year, and I was walking with another media member. And he said, man, that team's awful. They may not win a game all season long. And I looked at him and I simply said, well, they're going to win because that's what the NFL does. It's really hard to not win a game in the NFL. It's really hard to go out there and just not be able to one day luck into one. And there's a lot of bad teams across the NFL, and there's a lot of teams that will unexpectedly lose a football game. And sure enough, the week after the Houston Texans shut out the Tennessee Titans, the Titans went on the road and beat the Arizona Cardinals 22-21. They went on the road, beat the Arizona Cardinals 22-21. There's a lot of bad football teams in the National Football League. The Tennessee Titans are one of them. And the Houston Texans will be one of them if they lose to the Tennessee Titans. You're a bad football team if you lose in this spot. Even with the challenges, shuffling of the offensive line, new starting safety, some of the cracks in the unbeatable Texans defense armor, bad special teams play, and a backup quarterback. You're a bad football team if you lose in this spot to the Tennessee Titans. Okay? Yeah, you might be a bad football team that have won some football games, but you're a bad football team if you lose to the Tennessee Titans. There's lots of bad football teams in the NFL. Someone's going to sneak up and lose in a spot they shouldn't lose to the Tennessee Titans before the season's over. Don't let it be you. Don't let it be the Texans. Don't let it be that the Texans are actually a bad football team, masquerading as a team that's getting close to 500. Eliminate all that, get to 500, and start worrying about Buffalo as soon as the clock strikes 0 in Nashville. Sounds simple enough. The Tennessee Titans are coming off a 27-20 loss to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Titans didn't play particularly well, but neither did the Chargers. So we'll see if Tennessee coming out of the bye can carry a little bit of momentum, a little bit of oomph into that. We'll get to your comments, your questions, your joys, and your concerns here this morning in the live chat right after I tell you about my friends at Sleeper. Sleeper is daily fantasy. You're putting a couple of predictions together, and you put those predictions together, and if you get your predictions correct, you're going to multiply your entry and your money. It's more or less than receiving yards or extra points or field goals. And, well, you know what? Let's just put a sleeper entry together right now. Use my code STOOTS, STOOTS. When you sign up, you're going to get a deposit match up to $100. And you're going to get a free $20 no deposit required play. So this is how Sleeper works. Let's go to the Texans game. Let's go to those pass yards more for Davis Mills. He's going to put on an air show, okay? Then we're going to the touchdowns. All that production from Nico Collins last week, no touchdown. Nico's getting into the end zone this week. And the Texans have been nasty on defense. Cam Ward is a rookie. He's going to throw an interception in this one. Extra points. The Texans score 3 touchdowns. We get 3 Matt Wright extra points, and we'll have more than enough. And sometimes you get those discounted picks there on Sleeper. Let's go ahead and add that discounted Matt Stafford pick in there. $5 if we get all of these correct is going to win us $40 when it is all said and done. This is the Sleeper entry. You can play it along with me when you download the Sleeper app. It also serves as a fantastic scoring app. You know, when you go watch your college football on Saturday, you want to see what's going on. You watch it on Sunday, you want to see what's going on. The Scores app in Sleeper is great. Daily Fantasy in Sleeper is great. And you get a great offer. Stoots is the code when you sign up. Deposit match up to $100. A free $20 entry. No deposit required. My friends at Sleeper take care of you. Terms and conditions do apply. Sleeper terms and conditions. Please check them out. When you sign up, use that code STOOTS, STOOTS. Hope everybody's having a fantastic Friday. If you're watching this live, thank you for watching this live. If you're watching this after the fact, the comment section's still open. You can't get in live like Dime. Good morning to you, or Albert, or Caden. Coffee lover, almost to game day indeed. JB is here. Good morning to you. Round table, HDAV Traveler. Patrick's here. He's going to be at Spanky's this afternoon. Come out and see us this afternoon at Spanky's. We're going to have a blast hanging out, eating some pizza, talking about this Tennessee Titans game, talking about that Buffalo Bills game. This afternoon, 7118 Bel Air Boulevard. We arrive at 3. We are live at 4, and we'll hang out and eat some pizza and have some beverages with you as well out at Spanky's, so don't miss out on that. Dime, I can't tell if the elephant's going to be Davis Mills or Matthew Wright. Well, backup quarterback, backup kicker, special teams has been bad. There's issues with this Texans team. Comeback win against the Jaguars doesn't erase all those things that they've been dealing with week after week after week after week after week. EPADHTX. EPAD HTX. We'll go with that. Good to see you. Outlaw Noah. I'm stuck on the subway on my way to work in New York City. Good timing on the stream, students. Hey, thanks for watching, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, I did spill a little of the Ghost Welch's Grape. What a collaboration for an energy drink company. Also, Kroger jacked up the price on the Ghost. I got to go back to the Hebe. Oh, man, it's good stuff. Tay says you got to try the Rain White Haze flavor. I'll look for it and see what I can come up with. Rain White Haze. Let me write that down. The Rain White Haze. Okay, we'll see if we can get that on a caffeine for Cody. Is Matt Burke still calling the defense? I believe so, yes. K97, morning, y'all. Good to see you. JB Allen, the Annihilator. Good morning, everybody. Boy, Mike Vrabel really turned around New England. Soft schedule, but they've taken care of their business, absolutely, and they're playing very hard and very well for Mike Vrabel. And thank goodness he's not the Tennessee Titans head coach anymore. And if the Texans see Mike Vrabel, well, they'll have to see him in the playoffs. Long way to go before that. Good to see you this morning, Mike. Good morning. Well, nothing good about it, but it's morning. Hey, sun came up, you woke up. It's a good start to a good day. It can be a good day, even if it hadn't started as a good day. JB Allen, I wish Cleveland would have kept Vrabel. I can't stomach seeing New England great again this quick. Yeah, I don't know how legit, like, big picture awesome the Patriots are going to be with Vrabel, but they're awesome right now. They're very good right now with Mike Vrabel. Let's see here. JB says, I was just about to say that, or about our O-line. We'll talk about the O-line a little bit when we get to the check marks. BB Week. Did I say that right? Week. What's up, Cody? Great stuff this week. I appreciate you watching. Is Jeffrey Simmons playing on Sunday? He is. He practiced yesterday for the Tennessee Titans, so they will have Jeffrey Simmons, their star defensive tackle, for this matchup. They'll also have Tavondre Sweat, who did not play in the first one. Poncelios, you guys good? It's Friday. I'm good, man. I'm good. You good? I'm good. Let's see. If you like root beer, the Bum root beer is fantastic. I have had that one. It is quite good. I like the Bum Cola as well. My problem with the Bum energy drinks is they don't give you as much volume. This one's 16 ounces. I think the Bums are 12 ounces. So I think the Bums are just a little too small for me. And those don't hit as I mean, these got like the punch of caffeine in there. Tovar says, why don't y'all do a live reaction to the game? Well, Landry reacts live after the game, and sometimes I'm live after the game. A lot of times I do the recorded, but I think what you're asking for is a live watch along with the game. It's just a lot going on during the game, taking notes so that we do have a good post game for you guys. So I think it would be tough to do a live watch along, a live reaction. I don't think it's totally out of the question one day. I think more likely for a preseason game from time to time, but it's just a little difficult with how we operate during a game to take notes and get ready for post games and watch the games. And of course, I write right after the game as well. It's a little difficult to get the live watch along together. So I'm late now, Byron. You're right on time, man. You're right on time. Kenneth Coleman, morning, Cody. Any news on Ward? Was there something wrong with Cam Ward? Did I miss something here? I think you're asking about Jimmy Ward. Yeah, Jimmy Ward, not close. Hadn't been practicing. He's going to need to practice a little bit before they put him on the field. So Jimmy Ward, not close. I tailed your sleeper slip. Let's hope it's a winner. If you want to do the same, that's the video. If you want to do the same, this is the entry for this week. So hoping so. We have not had good luck so far, but we are close to breaking through and putting together a winner. Jake, you're the one that recommended the Welch's grape. It's fantastic. Ghost has some great flavors. I might have to start sneaking some ghosts in there. Mustard Paper's coming in from Austin to hang out at Spanky's next week. That's right, back-to-back Spanky's. Mustard Paper's going to come hang out. Are you and Landry at every home game? We certainly are. I think every now and then maybe one of us will miss a home game here or there, but we're at almost every home game, yeah. Sit right up there in the press box. Texans cap sits next to me. Get to pick his brain with all the various knowledge that he possesses. So, what's your all-time energy drink cost? Jeez. I mean, I get a good deal on some of them. So, I drink 5 a week, 1 a day, Monday through Friday, usually with maybe an occasional weekend one. But I think I'd go probably 5 a week. 5 a week at $2 on average, probably, based on how much I pay for them and things like that. So 5 a week at basically like $2. So, let's call it not quite that because I don't drink as many during the summer. So, oh, that's not the right. Let's see. So $10 a week. Let's call it $12 a week. 52 weeks. $600 a year on energy drinks. But that's a lot of times it's a lot of times it's my breakfast. So if I told you spend $600 a year on breakfast, you'd probably be like, oh, yeah, sure. So I don't know. I'll justify it however I need to. Darn it. A couple things that I want to get to, and then we'll get to the check marks as well. Like Davis Mills about can't underestimate the Tennessee Titans. Certainly understand that. D'Amico Ryans announced it here.
First, I'll start just by saying for this week, CJ, Emi, and Jalen Petre will be out.
Yeah, so they're out. Bodes well for Titus Howard to come back. Howard said as much yesterday when Landry and I talked to him. He's back. Wouldn't tell us where he was playing. Whatever the team needs, Titus Howard said with a smile. So, but no Jalen Petre yet again will mean a little bit more linebacker play and will mean the Texans have to kind of figure out if they want to play that nickel corner, if they want to do that. I don't expect them to play a lot of the nickel corner, but every now and then you're going to have to put that extra DB on the field. I would think it's going to be Miles Bryant, and then somebody else will go play safety. Bryant will come down from that safety spot, but that's something to pay attention to and watch in this game. While we talk about the Texans defense, let's pull up the check mark game. If you don't know how this works, we go through each and every player in this matchup. If they are good, they get a check mark. If they're playing really well right now, maybe they get an extra one and things like that. But the check mark game is a fun exercise that has evolved and changed over the years. And let's see what we can come up with here. Let's start with the coach. D'Amico Ryans coaches the defense. I know Matt Burke calls the defense, but we're going to put a check mark here for the way the defense has operated. I know there was a shaky moment there in the third quarter, but that fourth quarter, the way they've worked, and Matt Burke doesn't want the credit, and D'Amico Ryans doesn't want to say who and this and that. So the play calling on defense, the headset has done a good job on defense. Nothing for Kalen Bullock or a Miles Bryant. Bullock, a very disappointing play last week in third and very long. He's got to make that tackle. But as Reggie mentioned on the Texans Collective on Monday, there were some impressive moments from Bullock in that game that were good enough, that were certainly good enough. But he could play a little bit better, and he hasn't quite been that force back there in the secondary just yet. The linebackers, tough day. Azeez Al-Shire got into some coverage issues. Henry To'oto'o got into some coverage issues. EJ Speed played a little bit more than To'oto'o. I'd expect him to be on the field quite a bit in this one. So, but no check marks for the two pieces of the secondary that are safeties, and no check marks for the linebackers. Derek Stingley's getting a check mark. Okay. Derek Stingley's getting a check mark. He is going to be getting a check mark for a long time. I think he started the year getting 2 check marks a lot of times. Right now, just one. Just one. Hadn't quite got back to 2, although that interception last week, man, was freaking nasty. Maybe I kind of need to get him back to 2. Maybe Stingley's, you know what? Stingley's close to 2. Ahead of Buffalo, we'll see about getting him 2. Stingley's close to 2. Kamari Lassiter's playing his ass off right now. He's getting a check mark. Lassiter's really good right now. Just having an excellent season. He's not a flashy highlight guy as much as Sting is, but he just gets it done. Comes up, runs support. Maybe to the guy looking down at him deserved a penalty. I understand that, but Lassiter, very good. Will Anderson, very good right now, playing at a really high level. I don't know why my little marker just did that. Will Anderson, very good right now, playing at a very high level. So Will Anderson's getting a check mark right now. I think Will's been getting 2 check marks recently. We'll go down to 1 for this matchup. Had the late sack that forced a fumble, forced a interception, whatever the official ruling was on that. Good job of Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter. As far as defensive linemen go, he's the best defensive lineman on the face of earth in the past week. 4 sacks, 3.5 is officially the total, but in on 4 sacks last week. In on the run game, Daniil Hunter is ripping 2 check marks in this matchup. So when you factor in the headset, the 2 corners, that's 3. Daniil Hunter, 5, and then Will Anderson brings it to 6 here for the Houston Texans over on defense. Really good job by Daniil Hunter. Really good job by the defense last week to hold on and give the offense an opportunity. Let's go over to the Tennessee Titans offense. Boy, this offense stinks. Their play caller stinks. Their kicker stinks. Their quarterback has stunk to this point. All right. I actually don't see a check mark anywhere on this Tennessee Titans offense. I really don't. Calvin Ridley's coming back from an injury. Even when he has been healthy, hasn't been really good. This I think it's DK. I think is how I say his name is DK. I need to get that pronunciation correct for you. But he's a really good returner, and he's had some really nice moments in the return game. So I kind of want to give him a check. Chimere DK. Yeah, we're just going to call him DK. I kind of want to give DK a check based on the returns. He's returned a punt for a touchdown. He's had some really nice moments. He's good on the kickoffs. Sure, let's give him a check, but this is a special teams check because he's one of the better returners they're going to face. So a special teams check here for DK. Iomaner has not continued his, he was a hot start. Okonkwo, God, it's always so hard to say. Okonkwo's not getting a check mark, certainly not Cam Ward. This is one of the worst offensive lines in football. Dan Moore's one of the worst left tackles in football. J.C. Latham's been a disappointment. Zeitler has kind of fallen off. That was a guy I was really excited about this offseason and free agency. He hadn't been consistent. Skoronski's had problems. Lloyd Cushenberry's coming back from an injury, hadn't been steady. So it's just not very good over on the Tennessee Titans. Offense, we're going to give DK that one special teams check mark. So 6-1. When you look at the Texans defense, you look at the Tennessee Titans offense. This is just not a very good offense. And whoever takes over as the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans, they've got a lot that they need to add to the equation. They've got a lot that they need to change, and they got to figure out how to block for this quarterback, and they got to figure out if the quarterback's any good. So there's the Tennessee Titans offense versus the Texans defense. Let's pull up the check marks for the other side of this matchup and see what they have for us right after I tell you about my friends at TDECU. TDECU is where you can get that Houston Texans debit card. And the Houston Texans debit card, and being a member of TDECU gets you 15% off of the online team store with the code. You can learn all about the perks and advantages of that Texans debit card at tdcu.org/Texans. I have a TDECU debit card. It took me less than 20 minutes to walk in to one of the 15 greater Houston area locations, get signed up, become a member, because membership is required and they're insured by the NCUA. Become a member, get my Texans debit card. I'd have been out of there faster if I hadn't been visiting with Jordan over there at the Greenway location. Heck, it could get going even faster than the less than 20 minutes, and you can do it right there online as well. You don't have to be in Houston. You just have to be a resident in the state of Texas, and you can become a member at TDECU, and they have tons of different checking options, saving options for you, and various other tools for their members. When you're a member at TDECU, you find out what your credit union means. They want your money to work for you. Appreciate TDECU for being great sponsors this football season. Couple of comments, questions, joys, and concerns. Let's see here. I'm late. Will Stroud be ready for the Bills, being it's a short week and they only practice Monday and Tuesday? He just needs 2 practices to clear concussion protocol. So just the Monday and Tuesday practice. If he practices with those, no symptoms coming out of the game, he has no symptoms, then CJ Stroud should play against the Buffalo Bills. So I believe he will have the opportunity to play against the Bills. Super Chats jump to the front of the line. Armin, big fan of Cedric Gray, only because he's on my fantasy football team. We'll talk about Ced Gray here in just a minute, actually. I am a big fan of Cedric Gray. And if you're wondering who the hell Cedric Gray is, well, stick around. We'll tell you. I like what Cedric Gray has brought to the table here in the NFL up to this point. You'll see Mechie scored a touchdown last week. He's got an opportunity to stick around there in New York. They need a lot of help on offense. And, hey, play well down the stretch. Maybe they give him a crack to stick around there. They got to get a new quarterback there. In New York, though. Mr. Jack Cody, I got Woody Marks on my fantasy team. I saw the talent from a mile away. Go Texans. Yeah, you see the talent. I see the talent. I just wish they saw the consistent talent. I've had a lot of people ask me about Woody Marks this week. Certainly people that don't watch the Texans all the time that are just fantasy invested. And I would say this. I feel like last week was a game script Woody Marks game. I don't know that they've really turned this thing over to Woody Marks to be running back 1. I would expect Nick Chubb to start and be heavily involved if the game is close early, and then maybe if Woody Marks gets involved and they ride the hot hand within the game. But I wouldn't expect Woody to just take over that situation there at running back. Strict Lace, 5 a week because I drink 5 a day. They don't even give me energy anymore. I just like the taste. Oh, boy. Jeez. Be careful, please. Just be careful. I think Landry has the PSA for this, but Just be careful with the 5 energy. That's a lot of caffeine. I know some people drink that much in coffee, but there's some other stuff in these energy drinks. Just be careful. Try drinking 5 C4s in a day. Your chest will explode. I had 2 in one day one time, and I felt terrible. I don't know how people drink more than 2. I certainly like the taste of them, but there's too much oomph in them for me to drink more than just a couple. Lassiter and Sting, 2 marks for both. Man, Mr. J. Coop, very generous with the marks. And JB Allen, the Annihilator, wants Sting to get the 2 check marks for the 1 armed interception. That's worthwhile. How many Pro Bowlers on this defense? Will, Daniil, Sting, maybe Lassiter? 4? 4? That's what I would say. Hunter stole Will Anderson Jr.'s second check. Yeah, I'd love to go into the Buffalo game and give them both 2 checks. So maybe Will Anderson gets rolling and we have that. Togiai instead of Settle, how do the snaps look when comparing the 2? They rotate them. I just put Settle and Rankins out there because that's who they start more often than not. But they rotate them. I don't know that any defensive tackles played well enough to be in the checkmark conversation for the Texans, but we're actually supposed to talk to Tommy Togiai here after practice today, Landry and I. So it should be a fun conversation. It's the worst offense versus the best defense. We are going to win steadily. I like Dime's confidence. Yeah, they need to try to win this one. They can't lose no more than 2 if they're trying to make the playoffs. Yeah, from this point on, you get to 5-5. You look at 7 games left in the season. 5-2 down the stretch feels pretty necessary if you want to go to the playoffs. So I certainly can see that line of thinking. Jake wants Woody back 1. You and I both, man. You and I both. I just don't know that we're going to see it just yet. Just don't know we're going to see it. Do you agree with Landry that Deshaun was better than CJ? Curious what you think my argument for the case of CJ is Watson didn't start his career with back-to-back trips to the playoffs. Correct. He started his career with one of the most incredible starts to a rookie season by a quarterback, and then he tore his ACL, and then they went to the playoffs after that. Like, statistically and from a production standpoint, Deshaun Watson crushes CJ in the first few seasons. Through the first 3 years, Deshaun Watson had far more production and success than CJ Stroud did. Yeah, Watson was better than CJ. If CJ gets past Deshaun Watson one day, the Texans will have a great quarterback situation. They'll be happy to pay him. Remember, Deshaun Watson earned a gigantic contract before the one he has now. He earned a gigantic contract because he had played so well. Yeah, Watson was awesome those first few years. He nearly went toe-to-toe with a decrepit offense with the Legion of Boom and nearly beat him in Seattle. And the defense couldn't hold up. When he finally scored late, they couldn't hold up. JB Allen says the daughter got on to him about energy drinks. Now he doesn't drink them anymore. Just an occasional Alani. Yeah, just be careful with your health, Take care of yourself. Be careful with your health. Be careful with your sleep. Maybe you want to take your sleep to the next level. Maybe you need a sleep mask to do that. I got just the folks. We'll be back in a minute. Oh, Cody, what do you have on your face there? Oh, nothing. Just my tool for the best sleep ever. Get deeper sleep with a Manta sleep mask, a breathable, lightweight, light-blocking tool that takes away all the light that makes your sleep so much better, man. This thing is lightweight and it blocks every bit of the light, and it's totally adjustable. It's not going to slip or anything like that while you're sleeping. I'm a side sleeper. This one doesn't move. You can even adjust where the eyes go. And again, breathable. Lets the air through. You're not going to get hot. I was worried I was going to get hot wearing this. That is not the case, my friends at Manta. This sleep mask, it blocks out all the light. It makes my naps even better. It's going to be incredible for travel. Chilling on the plane, I'll be conked out. I won't see any of that awfulness. Long car rides, on road trips, they're even better with Manta sleep mask. You'll be at your destination just like that. Get you one and get 10% off. Use my code STOOTS, STOOTS, in all caps, STOOTS, STOOTS. Get 10% off your order. The link in the description down below. My friends at Manta want to take care of your sleep, make it deeper than ever. All right, you made the sleep mask. You get that in the link in the description down below. Let's get to the check marks for the Texans offense, the Tennessee Titans defense. So Couple of things here for the Titans. Looks like they're probably going to play Winston Jr. at safety, college teammate of Jalen Reed. So it could be very funny that Jalen Reed could get a little bit more action because of no MJ Stewart, and then Kevin Winston Jr. could get the start here. So Kevin Winston Jr. going to be their safety. Just a note there, not necessarily really anything to talk about, how good he is. I liked him in the draft, but their defensive coordinator, Wilson, Hecker, their punter, he's fine. Armani Hooker's been around for a long time. Nothing to really write home about. Their corners are kind of – so let's see what they do at corner. I think there could be a really big day at the wide receiver spot, whoever gets defended here. Not sure what they'll do with their nickel spot. A couple of different options for them, so I just kind of put the 3-4 defense in there. Ward and Key, if you're not tight on the edges, they'll get you, but there's no check marks to be had there. Barton's a fine player. And then Ced Gray. Ced Gray is a favorite of mine from a couple of years ago. I met him and hung out with him at the Senior Bowl. Talked a lot of football with him a couple of years ago. I was really hoping the Texans would pick him up because I thought he would fit in really nicely in their linebacker room. And out of North Carolina, really solid player, really heady player, smart player. Talked a lot about how he studied and, physically he wanted to be ready. And I just loved the conversation with him. And, I'm a big Senior Bowl guy. So when a guy like him has a good Senior Bowl, I'm always thinking, hey, is he going to end up being a nice football player? The Texans get him. The Texans love them some Senior Bowl. I think their first 4 draft picks this past season were at the Senior Bowl. So they love them some Senior Bowl. So I thought maybe Ced Gray would get in there. No check mark for Ced Gray. Not quite there on reputation just yet, but solid enough football player. So watch for 33 rolling around there. Sebastian Joseph Day is a player that I was hoping the Texans would end up with at different times under D'Amico Ryans. I feel like Ryans could do some really fun stuff with Sebastian Joseph Day. Ultimately, SJD is not getting a check mark. The big fella, T'Vondre Sweat. I mean, how do you not give a check mark to 360 pounds of just nastiness? This guy can ruin your run game. This guy can sneakily rush your passer from the defensive tackle spot. So T'Vondre Sweat's getting a check mark. He's a very solid football player. He is a guy that can drastically affect the way that you run the football. If you're trying to run the football up the middle on T'Vondre Sweat, you are going to be disappointed. He will clog things up, especially when you look at this potential interior for the Texans. Sweat will have an advantage. And then Jeffrey Simmons, one of the best defensive players in the AFC South. Jeffrey Simmons is getting 2 check marks here for the Tennessee Titans. So 1 left over from the offense. They get 3 check marks by courtesy of their defensive tackles, and the Tennessee Titans end up with, I think, a low score here for 4 check marks for their team. Just not a very good crew overall there in Tennessee. Now let's talk about the Houston Texans offense. Let's see what we can put together here from a check mark standpoint with the Texans. Nico Collins is obviously getting a check right now. I mean, 15 targets, 7 catches, over 100 yards. I know he had the big Hail Mary at the end of the first half that kind of skewed the yardage numbers a little bit, but ultimately Nico Collins is a player that you can rely on. He's a very good football player, and they don't have anybody that can defend him. He's going to have a big game. Nico Collins getting a check mark in this one. Dalton Schultz has not practiced this week, okay? Dalton Schultz has not practiced this week. I would give Schultz a check mark if he goes. Now, a couple of weeks ago, he didn't practice Thursday, and he didn't practice Wednesday, but he practiced Friday, and he still went. This check mark is getting a star next to it, because if Dalton Schultz doesn't play, obviously he doesn't get the check mark. Okay, but I believe Schultz is going to play because he missed 2 practices, practiced Friday, and still went. Schultz, really good so far this season compared to what he was last year. He's getting a check mark. Christian Kirk, you're not getting a check mark. Jaden Higgins, you're not getting a check mark, though. If you scored a touchdown again this week, we might be thinking about check mark territory next week against this Buffalo Bills team. So Jaden Higgins is close to check mark territory. So we'll see what we do there. No a check mark there for Matthew Wright. No check mark for Nick Cayley. Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, I'd love to tell you, I'd love to give a check mark to Woody Marks here. I just can't see them handing the starting job to Woody Marks just yet. If I knew he was going to be the starter, maybe I'd sneak a check mark in there. But ultimately, I'm not going to give a check mark to Woody Marks or Nick Chubb. This is what I called the hot hand offensive line earlier this week. This is my hope for this weekend. This is who I hope they start on the offensive line. Ariante Ursary at left tackle, Jared Patterson at left guard, Jake Andrews at center, Titus Howard at right guard, and Trent Brown at right tackle. This is who I hope they start on the offensive line. Obviously, if Ed Ingram is good and they want to put Titus Howard back at right tackle, and put Trent Brown back on the bench and put Ed Ingram there at right guard, they can do that. No check marks for the offensive line. They did allow a lot of pressure last week, and as much as I'm a Trent Brown fan, I'm not silly enough to just go out there and throw a check mark all willy-nilly around here, okay? So that does it for the offense except for the QB. Let me tell you, man, throwing for 2 touchdowns, rushing for a touchdown, 285 or so passing yards, one of only 3 quarterbacks in Texans history to throw for that much, throw for 2 touchdowns, and also rush for a touchdown. Only C.J. Stroud and Deshaun Watson have ever done it. This is a heat check mark. Davis Mills gets a heat check mark for this one. The Texans had 6 coming over from the defense. You add in the 3, maybe 2 if Dalton Schultz doesn't go. The Texans get to 9 on this one because they get a heat check mark from Davis Mills. I'm heat checking Davis Mills to see if he can keep this thing going. I really like the spot for Davis Mills. I really like the situation that he is in with this team right now, having a whole other week of practice, knowing he's the guy. There hadn't been any will they, won't they with the Texans and Davis Mills. Like, they know they're going with Davis Mills this week, and they've known probably all week long. So he's had a week to kind of get ramped up into it. And some of the stuff that wasn't good from Mills last week, he dropped a couple of snaps. He threw a couple of high passes. You would think that another week starting would maybe fine-tune some of those things. It's a heat check mark for Davis Mills. So I hope I don't regret that one. I hope we don't see some sort of 180-yard passing game. Or blah, blah, blah. I hope we don't see that. But heat check mark for Davis Mills. 9-4, the Texans win the check mark game on this one. And Davis Mills' heat check mark is probably the loosest check mark I've given in the check mark game. So a couple more comments from you. Reminder, if you want a Houston football hat, this is the original Houston football logo. We've got it in a couple of different colors. And if you want a Houston football hat, they are available for a purchase. You can check them out at the link in the description down below. If you buy 2 hats at once, you will get a discount. As they look fantastic. We've got the trucker hats. We've got the flex fit hats for you. We've even got some flat bill hats for you as well. If you want one of the flat bill hats, we got some flat bill hats for you. I package them and send them to you myself. If you want to see me in person at Spanky's, I will go about trying to make sure that you don't have to pay for shipping. So we'll figure that out. I'll have the hats with me at Spanky's this afternoon if you want to pick one up there. Or, hey, if you need it shipped to you, I will ship it out to you. I package it all right here at the house, put it in a box. I even found a couple of stickers that I might sneak into the package there if you want to buy a hat, and I send it to you. So the link in the description down below for Houston football hats, and you can check out that hat collection that we have available to you. A couple of questions, comments, joys, and concerns before we wrap this thing up. If you want to get in with a question before we finish up, certainly can. JB Allen, the Annihilator. Watson turned Chad Hansen into a respectable wide receiver. Chad Hansen did have some really nice moments with Deshaun Watson, then basically never played football again. Dime, Watson's 4th season, 4-12, out of games early on, threw a lot of catch-up against soft prevent, but we were never in those games, really. Yeah, but what about the first 3 years? Because that's what you're comparing. CJ's played 3 years. They're going into his third year, or in the middle of his third year, I should say. Through the first 3 years, Watson was awesome. I think next week you should make Trent's jersey just a little bit bigger than the rest. I will do that, Dime. That's funny. I will do that. Jimmy says, bad thumbnail, bro. It's a division game. Anything can happen. You guys don't remember last year who they beat us with? Jimmy, watch the beginning of the show. We addressed that. But when you play the checkmark game, there's no match. 9-4 is a significant advantage in the checkmark game. But Jimmy, watch the beginning of the show. Jimmy, watch the show. I feel like Jerry Seinfeld. Don't forget to smash that like button. Yeah, hit the thumbs up down below. The worst QB had a career game in Texans Stadium last year. We were cocky too, Lord. Jimmy, hit the rewind button, Jimmy. Go to the beginning. We talk about that. All the issues that were present going into the Jaguars game are still present for this team. I feel this way. They should not feel this way. I thought Simmons wasn't playing this week. He practiced yesterday. He's on track to play. So no practice Wednesday, but a practice yesterday. You gave that backup a check mark. It's earned. I've got that hat. My daughter wears it a lot. It's a good hat. I like the trucker hat. I got some of the flex fit hats too. And some people were asking for flat bill hats. So I got a flat bill hat option. Don't have as many of those. So if you want a flat bill hat, jump on it quick. Blue Boy, how good is Titus really? If he continues to lose at his spot at right tackle to guys the Texans get off the streets. Remember 2023, he lost a spot to George Fant the entire season. LOL. It's worth noting the Texans had no plans to play Titus Howard at right tackle this offseason. Titus Howard is going to be their starting right guard for most of the offseason. The injury to Cam Robinson in West Virginia initiated a switch of Ursery from right tackle to left tackle, and they bumped Titus Howard out to right tackle and inserted Ed Ingram into right guard. So Titus was their plan at right guard all offseason long. That's why I believe with the option to play him at right guard because they feel okay about one of the right tackles replacing him. That's why I believe that they are going to play Titus at right guard this week because that was their plan the entire offseason was to play Titus at right guard. He was not a factor in their tackle plans. They wanted to play him at guard. So how good is he? I don't think he's as good as some people think. He's not nearly as bad as some people think. But we'll see what he can do this week. If he ends up at guard, it's a tough test. You're gonna get some Simmons, you're gonna get some Sweat. So Intrude says Texans can go 5-2 in these last 7 realistically. Well, they've got 8, so they need to get to 5-5 and then go 5-2. And that would likely get them in the playoffs, probably the 7th seed, maybe the 6th seed, depending on the tiebreakers. But yeah, they can go 5-2 in the final 7. Certainly. Did something happen to L'Jarius Sneed? Yes, I believe he is on. Oh, I did not know this. Sneed got indicted on a felony? Oh, no. I think he's on injured reserve anyway. Yeah, he's on injured reserve. Yeah, so he was on injured reserve, and apparently he got indicted on a failure to report a felony. That's new. But yeah, he's on injured reserve. Jimmy, he said, I did hit the like button. Thank you, Jimmy. Appreciate that. Love my Texans, any content about them. Thank you. Hit and rewind. Yeah. If you were annoyed by the thumbnail, I think you'll enjoy the start to the show. Just need to win this game if they want to at least have a chance to make a wild card playoff. You've got to win this football game if you want to make the playoffs. There's not really a discussion about this. You have to win this football game if you want to make the playoffs. Would he beat out Chubb 60-10 on snaps last week? Wouldn't that constitute him as running back 1? Yes, but I feel like that was game script dependent. They're down 17-0. Chubb can't catch the football. They know they're going to have to throw. They put Woody out there a lot more. Plus, Woody dominated snaps earlier this year, and then the following week it was right back to Nick Chubb. So, till we see it constantly, I'm not making it a guarantee. We pitched a shutout on this team. Yeah. Now you're on their turf. They're coming off a bye week. Maybe they've found something and help Cam Ward move the football. We'll see. Wags, morning, bro. Got the sleep mask. We'll see how that works. Hey, Wags, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. You've been a very loyal, very generous viewer. So I certainly appreciate that, man. You're gonna enjoy it, man. I got mine. Oh, damn, I got it in the bedroom. Thought I had it here. But man, it just perfect for naps. I took a 20-minute nap the other day. Now, 20-minute naps, you're usually pissed off when you wake up. I took a 20-minute nap with that sleep mask on the other day. Woo! Boy, let me tell you. It's a great nap. Great nap. Appreciate you, Wags. Sneed didn't want the smoke with Nico. Yeah. Wags, any updates on Mixon, Stover, and Ward? I would think Jimmy Ward's still far away. Joe Mixon is still a mystery man to God and everybody. And Stover's got a chance to play this weekend. Practiced 2 days already this week. Just opened the practice window for him, but can get activated and be on the roster. And with Bryant and Schultz both missing 2 days of practice, I would think there's a good chance Stover's activated. Anything to avoid the matchup with Nico. Yeah. I like how D'Amico said the Rooks aren't rookies. Well, treat them like veterans then. That would be my hope there, Wags. I appreciate the super chat. I like how D'Amico said the Rooks aren't rookies. Yeah, well, then treat them like veterans and play Woody Marks more and play Jaden Higgins more, which they did last week. They played Higgins more than they played Xavier Hutchinson. I like that. Now play Jalen Noel more than Christian Kirk. I would like that too. And they've been treating Ursery like he's a rookie the whole year long. I actually loved the way D'Amico Ryans talked about Ursery yesterday. And you know, I think he maybe got a little, he's a little exaggerated with how much we do or don't talk about Ariante Ursery, but I'm going to bring that clip up for you and hear D'Amico Ryans talk about the left tackle, the rookie left tackle for the Houston Texans and what he's been able to bring to the table here for the Texans. And it's been a roller coaster ride for Ursery. I think there have been some really low lows and there have been some really high highs. You can see with Ursery, you can see how it's going to work out though. You can see how he's going to end up being potentially a really solid tackle for the Houston Texans. This is what D'Amico Ryans had to say about Ariante Ursery yesterday.
Taya's done a really nice job in, it kind of goes missing at times when you understand that a rookie is playing left tackle. Really tough position. He's done a good job of being steady. I mean, early on, he had some mistakes, things that happen, that's a given for a rookie, but he's steady. He's been steady the entire time, and that's what I appreciate about him. Like, he's not too high, not too low. He's even keel, executing his job, and having a guy like Trent who's done it for a long time to help him, give him some pointers. I think that's very beneficial.
Look, I'm super impressed with Ursery holding it down out there at left tackle. It's a good job by him to go out there and win that job and to keep that job. I mean, they have not given any indication that they want to, take him out of the lineup and put somebody else in there. And as D'Amico Ryans noted, there's been some really nice stuff from him. RH, checking in from Baltimore. What's your realistic view of us going 10-7, making the playoffs after beating the Titans? That's the goal, man. Once you get to 5-5, you got to get 5 more wins, however you can find them. I don't care if you get to 5-5, go to 5-7, and then win the rest of them. I don't care if you get to 5-5, get to 10-5, and lose the last 2. I don't care how you get there. You got to get to 10 wins if you want to make the playoffs. So you get to 5-5, then you got to go 5-2. That's hard. By the way, that's hard. That's not easy. That's not going to be easy for this Texans team. Ironically, though, as we talk about, hey, you got to get to 5-2. If you get to 5-5, then you got to do 5-2. Ironically, though, the Texans, if they beat the Tennessee Titans Sunday, will be 5-2 in their previous 7. Because they beat the Titans, they beat Baltimore, they lost to Seattle, they beat San Francisco, they lost to Denver, they beat Jacksonville, and if they beat the Titans, They'll be 5-2 to get to 5-5, and then they'll need to go 5-2. It's funny how that works out. Numbers are fun. But yeah, you got to get to 10. I don't care how you get to 10, you got to get to 10. Aaron, happy Friday to you. Haven't said anything about Petrie. No Petrie this week. Hoping to see more Jalen Smith. He's on IR. So no Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith's on IR. So no Jalen Smith this week. And Jalen Reed. I am hoping to see more Jalen Reed too. I'd like to see him at safety. Maybe Miles Bryant when he goes to play as the fifth defensive back. Maybe they put Reed in there at safety. I'd like to see a little bit more of Jalen Reed. I like Jalen Reed a lot in the draft process. And he was a Landry Locker favorite from the combine. So I like Jalen Reed a lot. In the AFC, we have a chance to make a wild card. We can beat the Colts, but we need the whole team to show up. We go as our O-line. We need to run the ball and keep the defense fresh. That is absolutely true, Jimmy. This defense has had some really, really tough spots, really tough asks, and there will be some tough asks coming their way in the future. But they have they've got to be able to get off the field on defense and then not have it just go right back on the field. So I forget sometimes we have a rookie at left tackle. Good thing for sure. Dimes wishing everybody a good day. Wags, we'll wrap up with you here. I like how they are sticking with him at left tackle. Anchor the D. I can't make Spankies today because it's high school football time. I'll try at a later date. Wags, we appreciate you. Appreciate your support on SNL, the locker room here on Houston football. Appreciate you so much. It is high school football time. Enjoy the high school football that you are going to be consuming. And we will have plenty of opportunities at Spankies over the course of the rest of time for everybody to check out. But if you want to get there today, Wags, thank you for the super chat. If you want to get there today, we'll be there. Today, next Friday, 7118 Bel Air Boulevard. It's the Sharpstown location of Spankies right there off Bel Air and 59. Easy to get to. And look, hey, live shows at 4. We go till about 5. Oh, by that time it's traffic time. Just eat you a pizza, let the traffic die down, then go home, get your Friday night started. It's a great way to kick off the weekend. We love going to Spankies, and we want to see you there this afternoon. So appreciate everybody for the support. I say this all the time, and I hope you all know it, and I hope it comes off as genuine because it certainly is. Thank you, everybody, for the support. This has been a wild Texan season. I was talking with a buddy of mine. He goes, man, it's kind of been a crazy season for you. I go, yeah, that's an understatement. Okay, basically, since we got this thing going in July, there's been a bunch of crazy stuff happening with this Texans team, from O-line to quarterbacks to defenders to defense good and comebacks and failures. And it's been a lot of fun to talk about. It's been a lot of fun to talk about with you. So I thank you, everybody, for the likes, the subscriptions to the channel, sharing the videos, the super chats, the members and memberships to the channel. I greatly appreciate you. I appreciate anybody that visits our sponsors. If you buy a hat from Houston or a Houston football hat, I appreciate that. I know Landry appreciates it all. I really do appreciate everything. I was talking with a friend yesterday, used to be in media, and he's like, you're doing this? This is your job? I go, this is my job. And I have a great audience that allows it to be my job. And I want you all to know I'm so thankful for that. Each and every time I turn this camera on and get to talk about this Houston Texans football team, it is not lost on me that I would not be able to do this without you. So a little Friday gratitude for you. I greatly appreciate everybody for all the nice words. I appreciate the criticism, the feedback, all those great things. So thank you, everybody. Certainly appreciate it. And yeah, I didn't even mention the CJ situation. Yeah. First oh my God, his season's over. Nope, he's going to be okay. He's playing. He's released. Joe Mixon. There's so many crazy things. And we've still got 8 games of craziness coming your way. And they get to 5-5, and it's going to be a sprint there to the end. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Brian, good to see you. Appreciate you for checking in. Mustard Paper, you're too kind, and I'm excited to meet you and see you next week. And JBL and the Annihilator, we're thankful for you, Cody. I thank you, man. I appreciate it. So I just wanted to a little Friday gratitude for everybody. Okay, Spankies this afternoon. A little visit with Tommy Togiai coming our way today. And get you ready for the Titans game. Little look ahead to the Bills game as well. So SNL live at 4 o'clock. If you can't be at Spankies, you can watch on the YouTube channel. We'll be live from Spanky's. I end the live stream the same way each and every time. This is my hope for you. This is my charge for you as well. I want you to eat good. I want you to sleep good. I want you to be good. And we'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hip-hoppity, dip-doppity-doo.